for Busio, obviously with Lulu game 1, Senna game 2, and also if FlyQuest push more towards a late game comp like they had in game number 1, or if they're going to index more towards early like they did in game number 2, because even from behind in game number 2, they were competitive in a lot of those fights down 10k. You have to feel like, hey, if we just picked a little bit more scaling, played the game a little bit more slowly, we're kind of just outplaying Team Liquid in the 5v5s.
Also, the dare of the top lane champions, I feel like was kind of broken in the last one, where Impact's Rumble was massive.
Very good.
You know, FlyQuest keep on like taking away the Cassante, really feeling like Impact, has the biggest, change on the game with that champion. But Impact flashing the Rumble there before he goes for the first pick for his team as well, kind of reminding him who the biggest gold lead in that game actually was. The most important pick probably in the last few series, had been the Nocturne for UmTi. This is a deviation. Of course, we saw him win out there versus Scam with it, but making a slight deviation here, which makes me think they are going to go the Yone or, some of these melee solo laners.
Maybe just Rumble.
That would be so crazy if they now waited this whole time to now throw down it. Yeah. But I definitely expect some melee solo laners to be able to proc the passive.
I guess I was just surprised to see it locked in first, since your opponents have already shown their jungler. It's not like there's any contest on the Sejuani.
There isn't, but I think that they want to look towards things that are going to be, additional counter picks. They're playing on red side, so I think they're going to take Rumble because they feel it could be a contested pick potentially and taken away after he performed that well. And then you can still look on 3 here to have an answer to a bot lane pick, or if they pick mid, then you can have a mid lane counter pick. It is going to be Galio Yone that they throw down. I'm expecting this is going to be Bwipo playing at top. We saw Broken Blade bring it out and get a solo kill in this matchup at Worlds. Really popped off on it. And now the question is, what can you draft to really absorb the engage? This is the kind of comp that I feel like a Swain or something fits so well into when they hard commit to dive like this. Is he gonna?
Kled!
He locked it!
So APA,
Okay.
APA started as a Kled main in mid. Is he actually throwing it down here? Elimination game of Worlds?
That's locked, right?
Yeah, that is locked, baby!
Locked. So this is something that I even mentioned it last game. So when you look towards his solo queue, people always talked about, this guy's a Ziggs 1 trick, an Azael 2 trick when he came in. You look at his solo queue, he is spamming Pantheon and he is spamming Kled. Those were the champions that he was really known for in solo queue. And this is a guy who actually finished at the top of Champions queue when that was going on in NA. He is a grinder, and he takes this moment to be able to bring it out. This is crazy.
How many times have we talked up this story and it not come through? Always throwing it out there, talking about on podcasts, talking about it in games here, setting up for APA, and yet he chooses this moment here, elimination match, to actually go into a Yone Galio. See if he can do it versus, if he can fish for the Galio matchup, that's key. So then the other thing here is that the Galio is very good counter to the Rumble, but very bad into a Kled. And so there's going to be a lot of mind games around APA and Impact trying to find the correct lane matchups here, because they really want the Kled to go into the Galio.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be really, really interesting. This, if I am correct, and I'm pretty sure that I am, International plus LCS combined is only his 2nd ever game of a Melee champion. His first one was this playoffs when he played Nasus. It was a win. So even though he plays a lot of these champions in solo queue, playing it in pro is a different beast. And this is only the 2nd time in his LCS and international career that he'll have brought out a Melee champion. He has played them in Academy, but that is really throwing down in a high pressure moment here. And Kled, I have played a lot of this champion. This is just about as feast or famine as you get in League of Legends. You must slam the early game or you are going to be useless.
And our lovely producers and stats people behind the scenes have just provided us with the information. This is the first Kled at Worlds since 2021. It has been 3 years since we've seen the champion. I also love the fact that they wait until FlyQuest finally sort of breaks this Aurora Yone truce that the teams had been practicing for the first couple of games in the series. They slam the Yone, and Team Liquid's response is this.
And I mean, Kled is a very strong matchup into Yone in the early phases of the game. The question is, can you punish enough in that mid lane? It's not an extended long top lane where you can freeze the wave on him and look for all-ins. It's a lot more difficult. Can you get that massive edge that you'll need to not just have the Yone massively outscale you and dominate the 5v5?
Or like I said before, does he even go into the mid lane? Because they could look for, lane swaps that are mid and top lane swaps. Yeah. It's definitely possible, not guaranteed or anything, but it also reveals why they invested in the first pick Sejuani, because Kled is insane with Sejuani.
They were baiting the Yone. Whether or not it's the right decision, they were baiting the Yone.
All right, so we're talking about this Kled a lot. It's a huge pick, it's a big deal, but at the same time, I want to go back and answer a couple of questions that we had in our minds before we saw anything from the draft. Busio will be back on Engage here in this final game. He did play the Lulu, then the Senna. Now we're back on pretty much the Engage champ of the tournament in Rell. It's Massu on the Xayah to be able to peel for himself, while Skarner and Yone and the Galio are diving into the Team Liquid lines.
Exactly. It can be very difficult, as Kled trying to get into the back lines here, especially against Xayah, because if Galio gets super tanky, Galio's just going to sit there, and when you pop ulti, he's just going to walk forward with taunt up and absorb that with the damage reduction and be able to just stop that ulti from coming on through. It gets so hard for Kled to then get into that back line. If you get dismounted too early in a team fight, it is very difficult to be able to get that remount, especially against CC heavy teams. So that is crazy. Like, I am actually blown away that he is putting their entire year on the line with the Kled. And this is something that is going to either look spectacular or fall flat on its face. I really feel there's almost no in-between for this champion.
I've never seen Kled do okay in a game of League of Legends.
Yeah, it is so risky, but it's such a fun champion to watch because it rewards aggressive play. You need to be putting yourself at risk by fighting to almost to the death, where you're getting dismounts and getting remounts, and that's how you can create these big advantages in those 1v1s.
And you can see here the first emote flash by APA this game, the FlyQuest logo at his opponents, letting them know, trying to get in the heads a little bit here. Let's see if anybody's going to give us anything special at level 1 to go along with the spiciness in the draft. It doesn't look like we're getting a whole lot, as FlyQuest are just keeping eyes on Team Liquid a little bit, throwing the ward down right by the Raptor pit. Again, I'm also very curious how the solo lane bouncing might go that you guys are already talking about a little bit, Kobe.
Maybe I was reaching with that because he doesn't seem like he's moving at all.
And I mean, it's definitely for the Yone. So if the Yone swapped, I think you would follow them, to your point, Kobe. But if the Yone is going to lane mid, I think it is going to be him just laning there.
Okay.
The problem is, Kled in these kind of melee matchups, if you play Kled into a lot of these kind of like evasive melee champions in top lane, you have this long extended lane where you can bounce the wave, it pulls out, and then you're kind of holding the wave, and you look for an all-in in this long extended lane. In mid lane, it's really hard to do that because it is such a short lane. So Quad's job is just to survive, to be getting experience, to get as much farm as you can. Even if you're down like 20 CS at 10 minutes, I don't think you care at all against the Kled, because this champion falls off a cliff after like level 5. Like, this champion does not scale.
You're Yone.
Exactly, and you are scaling to infinity.
All right, we'll also keep our eyes on this top lane matchup. Isaac, you mentioned it back in draft. We got to see this from Broken Blade earlier on in the tournament. Got the solo kill super early, showed mastery over the champion. We'll see if Bwipo can show us a similar amount of flexing muscles here on it against this Rumble. The natural affinity that Galio has for dealing with mages, for dealing with magic damage champions, he should be set up in a good spot.
And this is this difficult spot because the wave is in a perfect spot for Quad, where it's like APA cannot actually all in onto him, because from these spots you usually want to look for a dismount and remount with your W to be able to actually fight it out and create an advantage. But because it's too close to the tower, he can't actually do that. So he's just getting poked and prodded by Quad. He can't really go forward to actually get the remount. And now you're in an awkward spot because you don't have eyes on the Skarner, and you remount so slowly off these minions.
They do know, at the very least, that the Skarner did clear up towards the top side because they have their Raptor ward. So he could hover down to the bottom, but using his dismounted form right now to outrange those Qs from Quad. And really, it's got to be the call on support roams. When you have melee volatile matchups, which basically all of Kled's matchups are very volatile, then you're always trying to keep track of the support roams, and Busio is the first one to head on up here.
Yeah, exactly. Busio comes up, and he just has to take his base. He realizes he's in such an awkward spot. It's a TP back with just that long sword and a pink ward. So APA already in a rough spot here early on, I feel like. And this is kind of my concern about these melee matchups in mid lane. It's so hard to actually get the wave in a state where you can threaten it all in, but UmTi is behind him. We'll see what they can get. All right,
they want to try to get some power here with this Sejuani. The Soul Unbound has already been spent by Quad, but now he's trying to get away over to Inspired, who's coming in to back him up. Ishtal's impact slams APA into the wall, but Quad is already down to 250 HP. The Yone trying to get away, goes back in for the Q3, but he ain't going to find enough here just yet. Nice heal there, as now the first blood for Inspired. He turns around to save save his mid laner because he knows that APA might be able to remount. FlyQuest come out on top.
Even with the Kled, even with the Sejuani pick to back it up for the prime 2v2, Inspired comes out with the kill. Really impressive flashes there.
Yeah, I mean, he just blocked APA from being able to get back to Quad. Quad was put incredibly low, but APA gets dismounted. He can't actually reconnect, and then when the Q3 comes through from Quad, he has to flash away and look to try to turn onto Inspired just to get that remount, which, yes, he does, because there is that E coming through from Sejuani that buys him a little bit of time, but on the other side, UmTi is just dying, and that is a disaster, it feels like, already down 1K 4.5 minutes in.
Bwipo taking the worst end of a trade up here in the top lane, but now bottom side, it's Inspired on the Skarner yet again, this time looking for Core and Yeon. CoreJJ is turned to hamburger, and Massu's eating good.
The race car Skarner is unleashed. After the mid lane victory, the pressure just leaks over to the bottom side. That was a beautiful setup as well. Busio is able to land the stun after Inspired gets in there and pick up the extra kill. UmTi's trying to find the consolation prize here, which will be the dragon. But the early gold for FlyQuest is going to go a very long way.
See APA pushing in, and at this point, if you're not doing well in the 1v1, it's time to abandon ship and it's time to move around the map with your jungler. That's kind of how Kled goes, and you can get pushed, build an early Tiamat, shove the wave, and then just try to make the enemy jungler's life a nightmare. Group up with UmTi, play for 2v2s, try to threaten dives. You got to make stuff happen on the map. You cannot sit back and farm.
Let's talk about some of the history of APA, and something that Spawn actually said very recently in an interview when he was talking about him. Well, we might have to talk about Inspired more, because he's actually ruling the game so far.
We might have to focus on the present instead of the past here, Kobe, as Impact just hits level 6 for the equalizer to try to clear out the wave, but FlyQuest sent the whole party up here, man. Even the bottom lane's joining them. Inspired only dropping a half HP from the turret aggro. FlyQuest finally showing us some early game.
Really nicely done here for FlyQuest, and it's at a time where it's TL investing so heavily into some of these early game champs. FlyQuest are running away with this already. Yeon's going to try to push this in, but can't even get a plate. And for the TL players, that sinking feeling has got to be setting in. They've got to stay calm, try to think about a way that they can claw this one back.
I want to give a little spark of hope, though, to the TL fans that might be watching this kind of slip away from them. Another bit of action coming their way, though. Everybody's heading to the Void Grubs here. Galio is also level 6, so Bwipo could ult in.
We've also got APA ready with the charge. Team Liquid firing it off here as the Void Grubs are already secured by FlyQuest, but a massive fate sealed over the wall coming out from Quad. Bwipo makes his entrance. FlyQuest are slaughtering Liquid. A double kill, and APA with no flash. All that is left to determine is who's getting the money here for Fly. They'll get the taunt there from Bwipo. Massu's on a killing spree. 6-0, 7 minutes in.
The wheels have come off already, and Team Liquid, after the incredible year that they had, maybe going out like this, FlyQuest are dominating them in the final game of the Swiss stage.
So, should I not tell the inspirational story for the side of TL?
It's going to have to be pretty inspirational at this point.
Just look at this.
Look at
the Galio just hit level 6 as well. So you had the initial ult there, and then the Galio ult also comes in to further ensure that they're going to win it. It's already the double for Quad's Yone, the brother. And then here, just sitting on the wall there, Bwipo waiting because he knows there's nowhere for APA to go.
Exactly. APA was trying to have them dismount him so he could queue over the wall, but they didn't give it to him. They just wait for the cooldowns, and TL, they know this game has slipped away from them. The speech, maybe not inspiring, but Quad's ult definitely was. Quad is in an incredible spot. Yone has been so dominant this tournament, and he's 1,000 gold ahead of a Kled at 8 minutes into the game.
Okay, but I respect the confidence to go all in a Worlds match to throw down a Kled pick. Spawn, the interview that I was talking about, where he mentioned kind of some of the origins of APA and how he originally scouted him. You mentioned, his champions Q climb, his solo Q climb, his work ethic. A lot of his playstyle then was about roaming from mid. And what they were looking for with this pick is those post-level 6 Kled roams around the map with the ultimate, allowing the Sejuani plus the Kled to influence the side lanes, but they never got to actually enact that game plan because the early skirmish they lost. And so they lost that mid priority. It's supposed to be a snowball. The theory behind it is to snowball off the winning 2v2 first in mid, get your level 6 first, and then you get to go down to the other side lanes. But they never got to that point, and that's why it looks like this.
When you're winning 2v2 mid, misses out on that kill by just a sliver of HP, and you fall behind, the snowball immediately turns the other direction. More than a 3,000 gold lead for FlyQuest now as Team Liquid tries to bring more men into the top lane.
But look at the wards. They spotted him already walking across it. Now the sweepers come out, but FlyQuest already is well aware, and I think TL knows they must have been spotted somewhere because of how quickly they did back off. At this point for TL, all they can really do is try to overload one side, but they're already getting picked bot.
Yeah, Bwipo immediately with a Justice Punch into the taunt. Inspired can use the Impale to bring Impact so far away. There's no chance of escape for the Rumble. All he does is shoot the Equalizer to try to thin the wave, reduce what FlyQuest can gain, but FlyQuest is up 7-0.
Yeah, I mean, you draft a mid jungle to try and get control of side lanes, but Inspired is the one who won the fight in mid, and then he's the one constantly roaming bottom lane, making plays for FlyQuest. And they seem to have this one 7-0 at 10 minutes, truly under control.
Remember back when we reached the end of regular split in summer 2024 in the LCS, first team All-Pro was 4 Team Liquid players, with Inspired being the only non-Team Liquid player to make first team. And he's showing everybody why in this early game, in game number 3.
And he stated his goal is to be the best in the West. The best in the LCS, definitely in his sights and within the grasp here of FlyQuest. Let's see how they finish it out though. Of course, Team Liquid will continue to try and make some surprise side lane plays and try and play off the synergies that they do have. They've got a very strong possibility of diving. You do need to overload with a lot of people, but they've got a Kaisa to try and back it up too. Here comes Impact on the Rumble.
All right, Bwipo staring down the barrel of 4v1. Goes for the taunt, finds it onto APA, flashing back underneath the turret, goes for the Justice Punch again, trying to keep himself alive, but the lockup is too much. Team Liquid, 11 minutes into the game, find their first kill, but it's at great cost. The second set of grubs, along with the tier 1 turret, the first turret of the game in the top lane, going back to FlyQuest.
Exactly, and it's solo gold for Massu up on that top side. He is ridiculously fed. He's 2,000 gold ahead when he's down farm over Yeon. That is a monster Xayah that they're going to have to deal with, and they lose all the camps on top side, and they lose all of the grubs as well.
That's Rookie of the Year, Massu, to you. Rich man on campus. It's actually so heartwarming, the stories here for FlyQuest members, especially their 2 carries of Quad and Massu, which how much they have grown with this team, and now on the precipice here to move towards quarterfinals. Of course, job is definitely not done.
Team Liquid fans, I regret to inform you, Quad now has both Berserker's Greaves and Blade of the Ruined King. The Yone is fully online. APA with his Brutalizer and Tiamat, not quite with that first full completed item. No boots whatsoever here for the Kled either. As long as he's mounted, he is still pretty fast. He has one of the higher base move speeds in the game, but as soon as you knock him off that Lizard, he is not going anywhere, man. FlyQuest, 5,000 gold ahead as a team. You already mentioned the plus 2,000 lead for Massu individually. This is a damn near impossible early game for Team Liquid.
And this is the really tough thing about Kled, is Kled has to fight his way out of dangerous situations. You can't really retreat. When you dismount, if you're running away, you get less move speed. You have to move towards your opponents to get that bonus move speed. It's all about, being able to constantly scrap. And when you're this far down, it's just so hard to do. But TL, gonna look for Bwipo. I just don't even think they have the damage to kill him.
No, not with just CoreJJ and Impact. I don't see how you're going to get through this guy. He's got Hollow Radiance fully completed. He's kind of immune to these 2.
Yeah, I mean, you got to try, right? They know they're in a horrible spot, but we'll see if it happens.
All right, taunt onto Impact there. Bwipo with a snap trade. Bwipo takes no damage, and there's not really an opportunity for TL to do anything unless they bring down somebody else. Now, Yeon is showing up with Killer Instinct. The Kaisa does have enough firepower to deal with this guy, but Inspired now ready to also join. Ishtal impact through the wall, and it's a TP coming in for FlyQuest, looking to make it an even 3v3. Bwipo disengages, and Inspired has the Impale onto Impact, who has to try to flash away, but the fade sealed from Quad hits the mark. FlyQuest 1-0 in the 3v3.
TL try and bring extra members, but FlyQuest respond. The play took way too long. There's no surprise factor, and APA on the Kled has completed his Profane Hydra. The burst damage is there, but it's just so late in the game. Probably not going to get to see it shine.
I mean, even though they didn't have a lot of vision on that bot side, they can just intuit where they are because they have all this vision on the top side to tell them, no one's up here farming the camps, no one's up here making a play. Well, guess where they could be? They're going to be looking for Bwipo, and that's why they're down there to support.
Quad now the target for UmTi and APA, who goes in with a teleport, but it's just so easy. Quad using the Soul Unbound to threaten UmTi, force him back, knowing that he can then snap back to his original position. He's got Inspired next to him. Quad gets out easy peasy.
Yeah, nice stuff from Quad. He has really been on point, giving over the Yasuo into his hands, giving over the Skarner into Inspired's hands, and now kind of giving the map over, but got his Justice Punch off.
Nice buffer there from Bwipo as APA. This is what we were talking about, Azael. Trying to get away when you're dismounted is very difficult, but it looks like he might just succeed at it. Inspired without enough damage to finish off the kill here, and Busio and Bwipo are a little bit too late to the battle to try to clean it up.
Yeah, and the entire map is basically forfeit now for Team Liquid.
Close your eyes, TL fans.
Yeah,
Don't look at that.
Okay.
That's not the kind of blue they're looking to see.
It's all FlyQuest all day. But as you said at the very beginning of this series, if you look at the progression of these teams, even though people going into LCS finals all predicted Team Liquid to win, it has been an uphill trajectory for FlyQuest. They have truly improved day in and day out ever since then, taking over in the finals, Winions in the base, but here truly at Worlds, you know, pushing Hanwha Life, LCK #1 seed to the very brink, definitely gives fans a lot of hope.
Bwipo in some trouble though as the killer instinct from Yeon joins APA, who uses the charge to continue the chase after the Galio. He's very tanky against magic damage, but against physical damage, Team Liquid have what it takes to cut through him.
Yep, going to be able to get a kill there, and they'll need a lot more of that if they want to have any hope of coming back. But I mean, FlyQuest really has been a pretty creative team. You know, what they brought out against Hanwha, you know, being able to bring out things like the Nunu to get a win with that was so exciting. And even, you have to take into consideration the fact that they beat PSG, who took them down at MSI, right? This is, even again, showing that improvement that this team has been making, showing the growth that they have been chasing. And they have looked like the stronger team at Worlds.
Still Massu's rookie year, and he is having an exceptional one.
That's so crazy.
Truly is. Plus, you know, kind of inspirational story for Quad as well, coming over here and finding so much success. When he replaced Jensen, people were freaking out, but truly has synergized with the rest of the team. Anyways, 2,000 gold lead for, you know, said carry that we talked about, Massu there. So FlyQuest with a very straightforward path in this game, and Team Liquid just continuing to look to overload a side lane and try and full send. Again, Rumble Ultimate can join from a very long distance away. Kaisa Ultimate can as well. And so the Kled just kind of has to lead the charge. It's what the champ is built to do. You just got to go head first into one member that you see and hope for the best.
I mean, honestly, you know, 5v5ing as Kled is hard at the best of times. So I think, you know, when you are behind like this, all you can really do is just try to overload a side lane, keep using the ulti every time it's up, and look for a pick. You just have to rinse and repeat, hope that FlyQuest aren't there to defend on that side, and you can create a 2v1, a 3v1, something like that to keep going for it. But FlyQuest are pushing in, getting vision, covering their side lanes, and they're going to make it so difficult for TL to ever find those odd number fights that they would need.
Well, right now, UmTi could be the target for FlyQuest, as they will just chase him away from the mid lane instead. The issue for FlyQuest right now is there's just nothing to really fight over. They've got 4,500 gold over their opponents. 5,500 gold, actually. I miscounted out. I can't read, I guess.
Yeah, that's an issue. I feel like there's a lot of issues.
There's a lot of it. Okay, all right.
Continue on the list.
You got me on that one, though. Okay, so yeah, you got 5,500 gold lead, but there's nothing that Team Liquid is willing to step out of their comfort area to try to contest right now. But here in about 2 minutes, we will have the next Drake. Here in a minute and a half, we have Baron. We'll see if FlyQuest can get Team Liquid to come try to answer their challenge.
Yeah, and honestly, with how fed Massu is, the Baron would go down very, very quickly. So Would be tough. I do think FlyQuest are going to play towards this dragon, then potentially start looking over towards that Baron side, take over vision in the enemy jungle, really start to threaten those Baron takes, force TL to come in, look for picks. I don't think they're necessarily needing to actually start it up because their comp scales incredibly well, but they want to put that pressure on. Uh-oh.
Oh man, UmTi caught in his own jungle as Busio and Inspired were ready and waiting, and Massu's got more than enough firepower to guarantee they get what they came for. Now with a man advantage for the next 25 seconds, FlyQuest will use that to knock down the tier 2 turret here in the mid lane. They were already gonna do it, but they might as well just use the Herald. They'll summon it up here, and this might be, hold on, can they do the secret? Okay, never mind. I heard that if you summon the Herald just right and drive it into a turret as the first one before it was exploding, sometimes you can get a double Herald
charge.
proc. Yeah. I was wondering if we would get to see that. I've never
forbidden tech.
Yeah, I've heard of the tech. I have never seen it. I thought maybe we would get to see it here at midnight, but not quite yet. The clock has to strike the hour.
We need to chrono break this one once or twice. Make it all the way to
midnight in what time zone here?
Oh, true. It's midnight somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere out there. Wherever it's midnight. Sorry, you guys. We didn't quite get the charge. But it is 9-2 for FlyQuest. It is a 7,000 gold lead right before we hit 20 minutes into the game.
Ouch.
This is so borderline impossible to come back from a disadvantage like this for TL. Even if you didn't have the Kled in the mid lane, even if you had super scaling, this is such a massive lead for Fly.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's such an all-in comp from Team Liquid. You know, with the whole idea of winning early on the mid jungle duo and then trying to control side lanes, but trying to retake control of a game at this point is a very tall task. Let's see though. First step, of course, is getting the vision coverage, and they do at least clear out their red quadrant and try and get some coverage over Baron. Because your dream scenario in these situations is always, hey, maybe they burger flip. You know, maybe we can sneak someone in there and steal away a big objective bounty. You know, maybe, or someone is just getting too confident, they're out of position, and you snap a pick or something.
I think we're gonna need about 3 Danny at the Baron plays in a row for Team Liquid to come back.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a catch in the enemy jungle here for FlyQuest as UmTi loses 1/3 of his HP. Inspired wanted to join Bwipo, but a little bit too slow to catch out the Team Liquid jungler there. However, FlyQuest continue maintaining absolute control over the enemy jungle. The next Drake is spawned. They will get that for free. They will steal away the enemy blue at the same time.
Yeah, because you're trying to look at the item breakpoints and say, oh, you know, maybe when you get Rage Blade on Kaisa, but by the time Yeon gets his Rage Blade, you know, there's going to be already Infinity Edge, triple item spike for Massu on the Xayah, and so it just becomes so difficult. And
no, you got out.
FlyQuest. Let's see the control in finishing this game out. That's what everybody is looking at.
And you can see their line of vision here just all the way across the river. They're putting down all of these pink wards. They have the full control of that area. And now it's going to be about moving that vision line up, trying to get into the enemy jungle, taking over control, covering the push in the side lanes, and just really extending that sphere of control further and further and further ahead so that TL are forced to face check, forced into a position where they really are in a no-win spot.
And it's so easy for Quad to just safely push up these waves. You've got the extra AoE on auto attacks from the Stride Breaker. Set your soul unbound 20 feet behind you. Go up, spam clear the wave, snap back.
Okay, they've got the Rage Blade for Yeon, and they ran into a bunch of control wards, so hard to full send there.
I can feel you amping up there. Like, okay, we gotta.
Well, I gotta be honest.
Kobe's a glass half full kind of guy.
I gotta be honest. I just wanted to see some action, boys.
Okay.
That's fair. We have been moving pretty slowly here after FlyQuest built their initial lead, and they do have control over that topside river now, but Team Liquid is around the area.
And the reason it has been so slow, of course, is because FlyQuest stopped TL's game plan right at the beginning of the game. They kind of did the combo breaker at the very beginning. But here, APA in the side lane trying to make something happen.
Yeah, he wants to go after Bwipo. Bwipo using the Justice Punch to trade back against him, and Bwipo flashes out of the way of the charge so he doesn't get hit by that one. And now, a taunt coming in, trying to dismount APA. Teleports will arrive, but it's Quad getting himself into the fight first. Jumps in for the killing spree. APA is already dead, and now Impact has found himself in a spot where he's likely to follow. CoreJJ grabbed by the Impale as Inspired brings him back further away from safety. That's 2 kills for Fly. FlyQuest.
Nicely done there by FlyQuest. Of course, APA, you gotta try something. You need to try to force these plays, but Bwipo just pulls him down so far until he is overcommitted. The TP comes in, they easily burst him down, and they get CoreJJ to boot. FlyQuest back to the Baron now, controlling this whole area. There's no wards for TL. Look at this. They see nothing on the map. No shot at even getting over there and contesting.
Yeah, and it doesn't need anything more than just Inspired and Massu for this. Massu with Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver, and Quick Blades will make short work of the Baron, even with just the duo taking care of it. Baron secured for FlyQuest 24 minutes into the game, 10,000 gold ahead.
Oh, Impact's in trouble.
Impact at the very tip of the fate sealed. Quad's probably just gonna kill him here, but they bring in Bwipo to add insult to injury. And now they can deal with the remaining two guys as well. APA's dismounted, but he and UmTi might just live to see another day.
Oh, they could probably deal with the remaining 4 with the early lead that they got in that duel. APA got chunked out, dismounted, and the rest of Team Liquid also recognize that, so they're not going to further push the issue. Here come FlyQuest with the Baron buff, moving up the mid lane, minion wave, as well as the bottom, about to crash it, and Inspired fishing.
Yep, Inspired just barely not having the distance to get to the wall with the Ishtal impact, but FlyQuest fully Baroned up, fully grouped up, fully ready to punch their tickets to Paris and the quarter finals. They've got the minions, they've got the Void Grubbies. That mid lane tier 3 turret has already taken severe damage, and they're looking to put a similar amount here into the bot lane tier 3. It's already crushed. Bwipo charging forward with the Justice Punch as Team Liquid can't do anything but look on as this first inhibitor will fall. Now FlyQuest with the wave marching up mid lane could try to go after that second tier 3, but instead gonna go ahead, recall, regroup, purchase, and get ready to continue their siege. There's still over a minute and a half left on your Baron power play.
Teleporting out here quite early to keep this minion up and keep the pressure up here, because they still have Inspired in the jungle too, so looks like they don't want to waste any sort of time here.
All right, Team Liquid are like, guys, we got to get our red buff because they're coming and they're going to take it, and we have to make sure that we at least get something, so they'll secure that. Bwipo about to crash this wave into the tier 2 in the top lane, putting some work in on that one. 6 grubs just makes this even easier than it already would be with a 12,000 gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, we see APA, he's stuck bot lane trying to clear out that wave, but we have Quad pushing up mid. We have FlyQuest in the enemy jungle here, slowly working down this tier 2. They're going to try to stack up these minions, sync them up, and see if they can't crash these waves and look for a potential end on the game. TL just getting pushed out.
Second tier turret in top is down. FlyQuest with a 13,000 gold lead, 26 minutes into the game. Team Liquid scrambling to try to defend. Tier 3 turret is almost killed already as Bwipo uses the stasis to survive underneath the tier 3 turret right before it dies. Quad snapping back, FlyQuest pushing forward. Team Liquid still trying to hold on to whatever last little strings they can. The inhibitor dies in top lane.
FlyQuest, it's right in front of you. They are so close to moving on to quarterfinals here. Would be a momentous success for this team. They just won the LCS, such a big moment for them, and now to be able to move on at Worlds here would be massive.
The first time they've ever won the LCS as well, going up against Team Liquid, the team that had the longest streak of wins, getting 4 back-to-back-to-back-to-back. FlyQuest now stopping them from getting their second in a row after they won in spring. Would love to punch that ticket to quarterfinals here. The next Drake is spawned. They're just gonna go slow and steady as the Baron has expired. Only that mid lane still standing in terms of the inhibitors. Team Liquid have their work cut out for them, just dealing with the side lane pressure from the super minions.
Yep, it's only a matter of time now. It feels like TL just haven't found any sort of a window to find a fight, and FlyQuest are happy to just dot the I's, cross the T's, make this slow and painful for TL. But they're going to have to choose their moment here, and really, those moments are running out. You can see that CoreJJ is looking for a very long flank here, and I think when he chooses to go, that is going to be the last shot for TL to try to find that miracle fight, to try to find something and keep their hopes alive.
He's waiting for that minion wave to walk on in.
Spotted now.
CoreJJ could just walk right on top of that control ward though, as the turret falls in the mid lane. Core is still so far away from the rest of the team, and Bwipo goes in for the engage. He finds the taunt onto 2. Team Liquid not in any danger here just yet, but their base is utterly destroyed. UmTi on the front line. Massu taking a lot of damage, but he ain't gonna be killed just yet. Goes up into the Featherstorm, staying alive for now. Team Liquid wants to jump in and kill him, and they finally got the kill they needed. Impact taking the credit, but FlyQuest is so far ahead. Quad jumps back in with a Fate Sealed. APA remounts, but it ain't gonna matter. UmTi drops to 0. A double kill for Quad. There's no way for Team Liquid to try to survive. Only CoreJJ left standing. A triple kill for Quad and FlyQuest. They conquered their demons back in summer finals, and they banished them here today. They triumph over Team Liquid yet again, and they will earn their spot in the quarterfinals as the last hope for North America.
Huge year for FlyQuest. First one in the LCS. Big win here as well. Moving to quarters, smiles all around, and the final game, they won it from the very beginning.
Absolutely. It feels like a passing of the torch. TL had been the best team in the LCS for most of the year, but FlyQuest passed them at that final herder in the summer, are able to take them down at Worlds here as well.
The battle between North America's top 2 teams has concluded. Desk, what do you got for us?
Well, I think we were at a consensus that the better team won, and if you probably would have played a best of 5, perhaps they would have still come out on top, because when it comes to the development that FlyQuest has done ever since they took the torch from Team Liquid in that finals, you have to say it's been great here at Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest and TL, again, they have both pushed each other to get into this position. And I think it's just right now, FlyQuest have a much better read on what they want to do in the current Worlds meta.
And I, weirdly enough, just got hit by a wave of sadness. This feels, to me, like different than another final. Just the finality of Team Liquid going home, seeing, it felt like all the energy left their bodies after this series. And it just, I don't know, with someone who's watched these guys all year long, really just hits pretty hard. And I agree with you. FlyQuest absolutely deserves it. I'm really excited to see them in the quarterfinals, but it just goes to show how much time and effort these guys put into it, and how you can viscerally see the difference when they fall short of their goals. So hearts out to TL, the whole squad. They all sacrificed so much this year, but FlyQuest was the better team today.
Yeah, it's also such an interesting discussion, right? Because you have a team, I'm not saying FlyQuest